Hey, you. Yeah, you. Have you ever thought about what the Powerpuff Girls would have for a Pokemon team? No? Well, me neither. But this person sure has. So today, I'm going to be telling you what I think the Powerpuff Girls would have for a Pokemon team. I'm not just going to be exploring what their teams would look like, but more of if they were gym leaders. So I'll be including play tactics as well as held items. In order to find out what their teams would be, I think it would be best to start by looking at the traits of the characters themselves, starting with Buttercup. She's tough and aggressive. I think that due to her aggressive nature, it would not only affect her playstyle, but also make her want to be the first gym leader in your journey. Now obviously being the first gym leader, she can't have too many Pokemon. So I'm thinking, sort of like Brock from Generation 1, she will have 4. And, of course, how could I forget? Being a gym leader also means that she would need a core type for her team to follow. I think, through her aggressive nature, her type would be fighting. Now that those rules are set out, I think her lead Pokemon would have to be Obstagoon. With its well-rounded stats and ability Reckless, which allows it to deal additional damage through recoil moves, it seems like a no-brainer to be an opening Pokemon. Due to Buttercup's aggressive nature, it makes more sense that she wouldn't be too tactical, and more of a rough-and-tumble kind of street fight, rather than a tactical battle. Since Obstagoon is a requirement to have on this team, I will set her team level at 35 to 40. Setting this boundary makes it a lot easier to pick out a moveset. Oh god. While that is still a lot of moves to look through, as I said, she's not trying to control the battlefield, just simply trying to attack. Due to this mentality, I think Obstagoon's moveset would look something like this. Takedown would be a necessity for Obstagoon since it would trigger its Reckless ability, making it do additional damage. Cross Chop and Night Slash would be a stellar option because of its increased critical hit chance, and Headbutt is a useful move in a pinch due to its 70% base damage and has a 30% chance to flinch. With that, it wraps up her first Pokemon. On to her next. I think her next Pokemon would be Toxicroak. A good close-up fighter with the hidden ability Poison Touch. It could make it a potentially lethal fighter at inflicting the poison condition whenever it makes contact with a target. Unlike Obstagoon, with a balanced stat spread, Toxicroak is pure attack. Its moveset would be simply only 2 moves, Sucker Punch and Drain Punch. Both being strong moves and Drain Punch being able to heal is extremely useful for a Pokemon like Toxicroak. Now we come to our first held item. Black Sludge. This item heals poison types for 1/16 of their maximum HP each turn, making Toxicroak's mediocre HP a little more manageable since it recovers some at the start of its turn. For Buttercup's third Pokemon, I would have to choose Infernape. It has high attack stats but very low defense. With this stat spread, I think it would make sense that rather than trying to keep it alive, it would simply be having more moves to give it as much damage output as possible. Moves like Close Combat and Flame Wheel come to mind. Close Combat for the damage, Flame Wheel for the chance to flinch. Its final move would be Mach Punch, so that it can quickly take out any low HP Pokemon, as well as being boosted by its hidden ability, Iron Fist. It would have a Focus Sash for its held item, so that if it's caught slower than the opponent, it still gets a turn to attack. Now, on to her ace. I think that there's only one Pokemon that would be able to fill this spot on our team, and that would be Pangoro. With it having the same ability as Infernape being Iron Fist, would be a perfect fit for Buttercup's ace. It would have a choice band, since by this time in the battle there will hopefully only be a few enemy Pokemon left on the opponent's team, making having a whopping 50% attack boost very useful for the endgame. Its moveset would include moves like Knock Off, so that Pangoro would be able to get rid of the attacker's held item, and for its other moves, I believe that Drain Punch for its healing and Gunk Shot for strong coverage move would be a good choice to finish off the enemy team. As I said prior, her playstyle would be simple. Use attacks until either she wins or loses. And with that, the first gym, Buttercup's team, is complete. The next Powerpuff Girl I will be looking at will be Bubbles. Her traits include emotions, cuteness, and very surprising strength. I think that she would use a lot of Pokemon based on how cute they look rather than practical use. Bubbles' typing would follow a fairy water typing, as well as her level being set to around 45 to 50. Since she would be the second of 3 gyms, I feel like that's a pretty good level range. Her playstyle is that of balance, in both defense and offense. She would try to halt the progress of the enemy team with abilities and attacks to lower the opponent's stats. Keeping this in mind, I think her lead Pokemon of 4 would be Jigglypuff. This Jigglypuff's goal would be very simple, with its Sing move being able to put the opponent to sleep and then slowly chip away with moves like Gyro Ball and Body Slam. I say chip away rather than destroy because Jigglypuff's stat spread is horrendous. However, this can be combated with its ability Cute Charm. With this amazing ability giving a 30% chance to charm Pokemon of the opposite gender that directly strike Jigglypuff, this can immobilize the enemy team, giving Jigglypuff another turn to put it to sleep again or rest and regain its HP. For its held item, Jigglypuff would have leftovers, just even more ways to keep it from fainting. On to Bubbles' next Pokemon. Once you knock out the first, she won't be very happy, causing a more attack-heavy Pokemon to come out. Think of Jigglypuff as a false sense of security, because her next Pokemon, Primarina, would practically be a nuclear weapon. With its high special attack stat and its held item being a choice spec, which increases this already incredibly high special attack stat by a whopping 50%. This Primarina easily turns into a killing machine, and that's before factoring in its ability, Torrent, which boosts water-type moves by another 50% when it's below 1/3 HP. So, it would basically boil down to, if you were going to fight this thing, you would have to have something that would one-shot kill it, or knock it out very quickly so that it doesn't get to use Torrent. For its moveset, it would be used one of two ways, either as a setter with Sing in order to swap in another Pokemon, or its main use being a nuclear weapon. Its first move would be Sparkling Aria. This move being the signature move of this Pokemon makes it a necessity to have, not to mention its high damage output. Its second move would be Ice Beam, so that it has coverage against flying-type mons and can also be used for the chance to freeze. Its final move would be Moonblast for its high damage and type coverage. Bubbles' third Pokemon would be a setter for her ace. I think that the rotation from harmless Pokemon to Weapon of Mass Destruction fits very well for this character. So for her next Pokemon, it would be a Politoed. Politoed, with its hidden ability Drizzle, would be great for setting up her ace since Drizzle causes Rain Condition. Rain Condition boosts water-type moves by 50%. Politoed's moveset and held item don't really matter since I imagine this as being simply used to set Rain, and then Perish Song. This would be used as a tactical move in order to knock out the Pokemon to bring in Bubbles' ace Pokemon into the battle while Rain is still active. Bubbles' ace would be the ever-tanky, ever-strong Azumarill. With Rain active and its ability Huge Power, its water-type moves and attack stat is boosted through the roof. But I'm not done. With a held item of Mystic Water boosting water-type moves by an additional 20%, and the first move of Azumarill's being Belly Drum, boosting its attack by ×3, this Azumarill knows no fear and becomes Death the Destroyer of Worlds. Its second move would be Aqua Tail, being a strong choice for a main attacking move, and its last move would be Aqua Jet, for its priority ability. And with that, Bubbles' team is complete, leading us to the final one of the girls, Blossom. She's the leader of the Powerpuff Girls, and a very tactical fighter. I think that due to her tactical nature, this fight would be a double battle, meaning all of her Pokemon would synergize somehow with each other. As well, as since she's the leader, I think it would be fitting to have her have a full team of 6. Having a strategic Pokemon trainer makes me think that her Pokemon would also reflect this in their typing, making her a Psychic Fairy trainer. Blossom's lead 2 Pokemon would be Alolan Ninetales and Hatterene. These two synergize nicely since Alolan Ninetales would be able to set up a wide defense with moves like Aura Veil, and Hatterene would be able to control the flow of battle through Trick Room. Alolan Ninetales' moveset would look something like this. As I said before, Aura Veil to set up defense as well as Encore to lock the opponent into using the same move multiple times in a row. Freeze Dry is a strong Ice-type move that is also super effective against Water-type Pokemon, which gives Ninetale good coverage against a variety of Pokemon types. Not to mention, with its hidden ability Snow Warning, it sets up Hail when it enters the battle, allowing it to get some chip damage while not taking any damage itself for being an Ice-type. Its held item would be Light Clay, which extends the duration of moves like Reflect and Light Screen. This would work great since its final move is Protect. The Hatterene, for its partner, would set up Trick Room on the first turn of combat, and from there, it would strike heavily with Dazzling Gleam and Psychic. For its held item, it will have a Barbary Berry, which would reduce the super effective strike from a Steel-type Pokemon. As well, with its stellar ability Magic Bounce, any status move that is targets Hatterene is reflected back towards the attacker. The biggest strategy that Blossom would use with these two would be Encore plus Magic Bounce. If she could make a prediction that they were going to target Hatterene with a status move, it would be reflected back multiple times towards the attacker by getting Ninetales to use Encore. For the second pair of her 6 Pokemon, she would have a Gardevoir and a female Indeedee. This would be a great strategy based around Psychic Terrain and AoE attacks while the Indeedee provides support to the Gardevoir. Gardevoir would stand strong with its incredibly high 125 special attack stat, and with the Pixie Plate as its held item, it would be even stronger with a 20% increase to fairy moves. With its ability, Synchronize, any condition that Gardevoir is caught under, the attacker also gains the condition. Its main attacking move would be Dazzling Gleam, since it hits both enemy Pokemon and is also a fairy type, meaning it is boosted by the Pixie Plate, as well as Stab. Something that I would like to mention is that I did think about making this a Mega Gardevoir because of Mega Gardevoir's ability Pixelate, turning normal type moves into fairy type, but I thought I would save that for a little surprise at the end of the video. The Indeedee partner with the Gardevoir would have the synergy of Indeedee's hidden ability, Psychic Surge. This sets up Psychic Terrain when Indeedee enters the battlefield. This would be incredibly useful for both Indeedee and Gardevoir, and could even help Hatterene if it hadn't been fainted yet. Indeedee would hold a Psychic Seed for its held item, which boosts special defense in Psychic Terrain, which is so kindly set up when Indeedee enters the battlefield. Indeedee's moveset would look something like this. Expanding Force, since in Psychic Terrain this move gets a 50% boost rather than a 30%, its other moves would be buffing moves like Helping Hand to make its partner deal more damage. It would also have Protect for survivability purposes. That would cover her second pair of Pokemon, and now leading into her final pair, Frostlass and the very bulky Sylveon. This would be a sort of speed control and sweeping pair, while Frostlass being an Ice and Ghost type would break free a little from the type combos of the rest of the team. I still think it fits in with the rest. It would have Focus Sash as its held item in order to keep it alive for at least one round, since Frostlass can be quite frail. While it might be frail, with its ability Snowcloak, it gains 20% evasion and Hail, which can be set up from Alolan Ninetales. For its moves, it would have good coverage against plenty of Pokemon. Shadow Ball for a strong special attacking move boosted by Stab with Frostlass being a Ghost type. Will-O-Wisp to inflict the burn condition on an opponent's Pokemon, which pairs perfectly with Protect in a way to burn stall. I think Icy Wind would have to be a perfect choice for its final move, since it lowers the opponent's speed, giving its partner Sylveon more of an advantage in combat. For the final Pokemon, I choose Sylveon, a very bulky final Pokemon with also high potential for damage output. With an ability like Pixelate, which turns normal type moves into fairy, making them affected by Stab, Sylveon would have its held item be a Throat Spray, which raises the special attack when a sound-based move is used. This pairs perfectly with what I think its first attack should be, being Hyper Voice, a strong normal type move that hits both opponents. Since it's a normal type move, it will be changed to fairy due to Pixelate. Another move I think would pair well with Hyper Voice would be Calm Mind. This is a stat boosting move which raises the special attack stat by 1 stage when used. Since Sylveon is so tanky, it can definitely survive and do this with no fear of being one-hit KO'd. And with that, each of them have a set team to act as gym leaders. However, if we go back to the comment, they ask, what would they have as a Pokemon team? A singular team. So before I sign this video off, I'm going to make a team where each girl uses 2 Pokemon and fight together, incorporating each of the unique fighting styles into this fight. I think, for this very unique circumstance of 3 trainers fighting at the same time, I want to incorporate a forgotten battle type. This fight won't be a solo battle, it won't be a double battle, it will be a triple battle. For those who don't know what a triple battle is, it is when there are 3 Pokemon on each side of the field. The Pokemon can only attack the one directly in front of it and the center Pokemon. The only exception to this rule is if your Pokemon is the center Pokemon. In that case, it can target anyone it wants. At any point, you can switch one of your Pokemon's places for the cost of one attack. There are a few unique moves that can target the whole field, like Earthquake or Blizzard, or can target any Pokemon no matter where it's located on the battlefield, offering a very unique final battle against the Powerpuff Girls. Buttercup would lead with her Infernape from earlier. The only difference in this battle would be that now the Infernape knows Acrobatics. This is one of those unique moves where it can target any Pokemon no matter where the Infernape is located on the field or where the target's located on the field. I feel as if this makes a lot of sense for Buttercup in her style of fighting. She would also bring her Obstagoon with. For this reason would be it's good at one-on-one combat. However, instead of having the Reckless ability like before, it would swap its ability gaining Guts, which would give it a 50% attack boost when under a status condition. Another thing, its held item would change to a Flame Orb. The Flame Orb would give it the burn condition, causing Guts to trigger. Buttercup during this fight wouldn't switch very often and leave most of that to Blossom and Bubbles. Bubbles would bring her Primarina and Politoed. There would a few changes done to them, like Primarina bringing Water Pulse in order to target whoever they want on the field, since Water Pulse is also a unique move that can hit anywhere on the field. With Politoed, they would keep their moveset except add Surf. The reason for this being that Surf hits both the ally and the two Pokemon in front of it. Now that Buttercup and Bubbles are on the left and right side, Blossom would have adapted to her prior loss against you and synergize her team with her teammates. So, instead of bringing her old team, she would bring a Clodsire with Water Absorb and place it in the middle next to Bubbles' Politoed. The reason for this is that Water Absorb, when struck with a Water-type move, heals rather than damages, meaning when Bubbles' Politoed uses Surf, Clodsire would heal instead of taking damage. Its held item would be leftovers to keep it alive, and it would inflict status condition moves like Poison Sting and Sludge Bomb. It would also have Recover to make it an extremely bulky and hard to defeat Pokemon. As for the last Pokemon, Blossom would bring her Gardevoir. However, there will be one change. Rather than having the Pixie Plate, it would now be holding a Gardevoirite, allowing it to Mega Evolve. When a Pokemon Mega Evolves, its ability changes and it gets a humongous stat boost. For Gardevoir, it gains a huge special attack boost and the Pixelate ability, turning its now supercharged Hyper Voice into a stab nightmare for its opponents. This is what I think their teams would look like. This is simply my opinion, and if you think that there was a better Pokemon or strategy they could have used, make sure to leave a comment down below, and subscribe to see what team I make next. If you want to be the one to choose who I make a team for next, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay wild, stay weird, and catch you next time.